Arsene Wenger will leave English football after more than 800 Premier League games, 3 titles, 7 FA Cups, as many Community Shields and an unmistakable influence on our game. Arsenal's manager was appointed in 1996 and Ian Wright has admitted a few members of the squad were asking at the time, "Who is this French guy?" Yet they would soon bow to Wenger's demands and discover the benefits as they were left feeling like their new club chief could see into the future. Here, as the Frenchman prepares to leave the Premier League behind, Sportsmail looks at 5 ways Wenger helped shape English football. While on England duty, the Manchester United players would look over at the Arsenal table and wonder why they were always eating so differently from them. It was the Wenger diet. One of the first changes that Wenger made was to the menu at Arsenal. Less sugar, less fat, less meat, more vegetables. Chips and burgers were scrapped from the canteen. Alcohol was not banned completely, but it was frowned upon, despite English changing rooms at the time being known to enjoy bonding over a few beers. Wenger's year in charge of Japanese side Nagoya Grampus had taught him a lot about the benefits of being on a good diet, and he brought that to England with him. Nowadays, nutritionists are nothing extraordinary. Plenty Premier League players hire their own and have personal chefs. Even some in the Championship do. Back in 1996, it was attitude towards foreign coaches. Before Wenger's arrival, there was a skeptical attitude towards head coaches from abroad. There was an overwhelming belief that they could not be successful on these shores. It was a ballsy call by Arsenal to appoint Wenger in the first place. The players were unsure of who he was, and a headline in the Evening Standard asked, "Arsene who?" Sir Alex Ferguson even said in response to Wenger commenting on Manchester United in his early days at Arsenal, "What does he know about English football, coming from Japan?" Wenger, without question, was one of the leaders in changing the opinion towards foreign coaches. As Wenger himself has joked with reporters, the red carpet is now rolled out when we get a new Italian or Spaniard these days. It wasn't back then. Training and fitness. In Wenger's first pre-season with Arsenal, there were concerns about the fitness of the team. Lee Dixon and Tony Adams decided to let the new boss know. They told him they were worried because they had not been doing a lot of running, like they usually do. "Have faith," Wenger answered them. A little more than a week later, in their first game against Leeds, Arsenal flew out of the blocks. They went unbeaten in their first 12 Premier League games and won the double that season. Wenger was meticulous. He introduced new drills and methods from day one, with a focus on stamina, passing skills and ball control. The players would be told to stretch, then stretch some more, and the Frenchmen also paid particular attention to statistics and science in a time when they weren't overly popular. It sounds strange to marvel at this in the modern era, but the majority of this was brand new for Arsenal. Now, it is the norm at each and every club in England. Style of play. Arsenal's back four of Tony Adams, Steve Bold, Nigel Winterburn and Lee Dixon was the bedrock on which Arsenal's success under George Graham was built. When Wenger arrived, he realized he should not simply rip up the blueprint and start from scratch. He used it as a foundation, then went about getting rid of their boring Arsenal reputation. Wenger played attacking possession-based football whenever possible and allowed his defenders freedom to force their way forward. They became England's great entertainers in doing so. Though it risked leaving them exposed, Arsenal's back four were formidable when they won the English double in 1997-98, with Sportsmail's Martin Keown one of their old-school defenders. Wenger's Invincibles back line of Lauren, Kolo Touré, Sol Campbell and Ashley Cole were an attacking unit too. It helped shape a new way of winning and taking the game to an opponent. Statistical spending. Similar to his use in training, Wenger liked to focus on statistics when it came to signings too. The film Moneyball shows how the Oakland Athletics would use stats to sign new players, and Wenger was not above trusting numbers either, as he unearthed undervalued superstars. It didn't always work, of course, but it did when it came to Patrick Vieira, signed from AC Milan for £3.5 million, Robert Pires, from Marseille for £6 million, and Thierry Henry, from Juventus for £11 million. In the modern era, a club is missing a trick if it does not extensively use this system. There are analytical staff whose livelihoods revolve around it, although it is more difficult to do these days. Leicester managed it when they signed N'Golo Kanté from Caen, but remember, Wenger revealed the French midfielder was on Arsenal's radar too before he went to the King Power Stadium.